Hi friends, welcome back to Alex Playworld, bringing you the little heroes of the storm, introductions and whatnot. I am good at my job. Anyway, this is a game from the Community Cup, spawning here on the left side being the blue team. This is none other than Rainbow Raiders, composed of Meriden, Kerrigan, Vala, Uther, and Arthas. On the right side of the screen, you're going to have the red team, that is L8N8, a team from Jamaica. We have Johanna, Rhaegar, Kelthas, Jim Raynor, and of course the Skeleton King, aka Leoric. That is his name. I don't know why. Listen, I'm tired. Okay, I am very tired, and we're gonna try to get through this together. We are spawning here, of course, in Sky Temple. This should be a rather interesting match. Let's go ahead and bring up talents to see what's going on right now and get this action on the way. It looks like the red team making their way here, pretty much split between all lanes. The blue team having a stronger presence here in the middle. Of course, with that Kerrigan and Meriden combo, you expect to see some dives. It looks like the Gankush in the top already started taking possession. Cookie being a little bit aggressive with our regular positioning. He's not really scared. Vala opening up on Raynor, doing a big chunk of damage. But Raynor, of course, still has that passive healing and Rhaegar by his side, so he's not too worried about it. And it looks like there's not going to be much of a confrontation here. Vala rotating to the bottom lane. Of course, in the top lane already, Arthas and Johanna making introductions. Not really, they're in the bush, sort of saying hi to each other. And there we go. They begin to sort of trade a little bit. There's not much going to go on there. Here in the middle lane, a big chunk of damage going against the red team. It looks like a good living bomb there on Meriden, but not a big deal. And they're going to begin to push rather aggressively as they're going to try to hold here lanes. Good stun right there on Raynor. Here comes the jump and the Stormbolt. Double damage, tons of damage, and Uther apparently gets the killing blow. First blood for the blue team as they completely obliterate Raynor right here in the middle lane. The red team with not many answers. The Jamaicans need to come up with a little bit more proactivity. They have to be really, really careful about that dive team, that composition of Meriden and Kerrigan. Really scary stuff to deal with as they can just jump in. As you can see, the Stormbolt stunning Rhaegar, but he should be able to walk away. Absolutely no problem. Kerrigan was not prepared for that gank. Ironically, it looks like we're gonna have a fairly even laning contest, though, as they're not really pushing this too much into the towers. The temples are spawning. Kerrigan rotating here to the top lane to gather that vision. Of course, Arthur's moving out of lane, although Johanna very low on health. This might be an interesting thing they want to come here. It looks like Meriden already holding the middle shrine, the middle temple, to make sure their team can get it. And of course, the enemy team, the red team, making a rotation. Here comes Leoric just to swift a little bit to get that orb and make sure he's getting those regeneration stacks. And it looks like for the time being they're going to trade. Arthur being a little brave does get a good route there on Johanna, but he does walk away with a living bomb going like that's probably a bad idea. It looks like Kerrigan is going up here to assist and thinking about it, but Leoric flanking here on the right side. Here's Meriden as well. It does not look like they see him. They're going to dive in really deeply against Johanna. The D does fall away. Now she's susceptible to stun. It looks like the Kerrigan combo does miss, and our Arthas gets taken down. Great gravity lapse there. It looks like Meriden diving in behind Johanna. Can he get the kill? Yes, he can, but now he's in a lot of trouble. Does not have the dive, and tons of damage going out. That living bomb is going to chunk him fairly well. He has like 10% health. He does get taken down there by Raynor, I believe. The red team getting the payback there. 2 kills to 2, evening out the score, holding the top temple, although of course the blue team already has the majority of the damage done from the bottle temple. You see the towers are going down here and they're beginning to push. Kerrigan doing her best. This is actually a really terrible Kerrigan. I am not too familiar with Rainbow Raiders. Of course, this is the Community Cup, so these are not like top level pro people playing. But I'm kind of surprised that that's the quality of combos that you can do. But it's okay. Looks like another confrontation here happening momentarily. Johanna getting slowed down. She does get pulled by into the stun and the root. Tons of damage going on. She does have a D. She does condemn, and the left coil picks up the kill on her at the last second as Meriden gets gravity lapse. But a little too late, could not save her friendly Johanna, and of course they're getting the kill advantage. Although the majority of the damage here in the top lane, of course, going for the red team. As you can see there, those towers are already taken down. These not really haven't taken any damage, and these towers taken down. Fairly even symmetry there as the teams return to their lanes. The orb going back down here to continue forming some orbs and keep that storm going. It looks like on the top lane we have shifted, and now Raynor dealing with Arthas, which would be relatively easy. And then, of course, in the mid lane we have the strong presence Meriden, Kerrigan, and Uther. It's the gank squad. The stun comes down there on Johanna. She does condemn, but doesn't catch anybody. And the living bomb is going to do a little bit of damage to Uther and Meriden, who did not move out of the way of that squad. Right, it looks like a gang squad going on here on on Leoric. She does miss the combo one more time, also because Leoric was going to go ahead and do that little Wraith Spirit. He does land the Drain, which keeps him in the fight a little bit, and then Rhaegar arriving in support just in time. It's going to keep him topped off, no problem, as he continues to gather orbs. Vala trying to do a little bit of poke damage there, continuing the damage. That Hungry now are doing a lot of damage, even though she's going multi-shot build. So pretty scary. Good stun there. Leoric really low on health. He's going to get taken down immediately. Could not even Wraith Walk, and Rhaegar was like, oh, I'm sorry. I got no cooldowns, man. It looks like he's going to walk away as the blue team secures the bottom lane. On the top lane, Arthur's running away. He does slow down Johanna, but then moves back. He's going to auto-attack and great root, but the shield glare to the face picks him up, and now she's going to walk away triumphant out of here. Well, it looks like the gang squad is about to meet her. She does get shot by the tower, presses the D, which is a little bit sad, even though she does save herself from Meriden, who did it a little preemptively. But here comes the stun, and that's a ton of damage. Meriden even dwarf tossing ahead to block him unnecessary as he gets cleaned up. I don't know about this replay, you guys. Like, I hadn't heard of the teams, and I was like, all right, there might be someone that I don't know. But this is not particularly high-level gameplay. I'm still happy to cast it, though, because it's always fun to cast some Heroes of the Storm. It looks like Leoric is going to hit Vala there a little bit, dismounter, and he's going to run in here. Uther running away. He's going to get a stun. Tons of damage with a multi-shot point blank. Chuck Leoric to half health. Here comes Raynor to try to help out, but it looks like they're going to be able to back away, no problem. And the rest of the blue team arriving here in force. Looks like Leoric going to wait there in the bush. Good flame strike. He's going to dive in and good hit, but he's going to complete this trade immediately. Great gravity lapse on top of the blind, saving his team as the red team in a lot of trouble trying to walk away. Leoric and Kel'Thuz's really low. They managed to escape. It looks like Johanna being really aggressive, trying to do damage, but she does get taken down. The blue team's still relatively short. It looks like a good stun going down there. Reno, great triple stun. They pick up the double kill, and now Leoric trying to get away, but not enough time, and he does get taken down as he does get landed on that route by Arthur. The blue team half health, a little bit low. It looks like Kerrigan might be able to go back and well up and heal up, but they should be able to pick themselves up, especially if they line up. Great heal there by Uther, getting the most back for his buck. Here comes Leo. It's respawning at the moment. It looks like Kerrigan in a little bit of trouble as he was in the middle of the lane, but Leoric smartly walking away and saying, you know what, I can't really die again. He does just get out of the way. They should be able to grab the majority of the bombardment here on the temple, even though Leo is returning with Johanna. He does get a lot of damage, gets stunned as well. Here comes Kerrigan, gonna jump in, do a little bit of damage. That condemn comes out, the stun right there, pulls them both in. Tons of damage going on, and Leo is bye-bye, and Johanna's just gonna walk away like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to even be here. Level 10 to level 8, the blue team with extreme dominance. It looks like Arthur's rotating here to the top lane to deal with this. On the bottom lane, of course, Meriden and Johanna doing a little bit of dance, but they should be relatively quickly. I don't think she should engage there. Leo is coming back. That should force a retreat, and it looks like Arthur's getting shut back a little bit as Rainer's getting some free pot shots there. They begin to push on here, but Kerrigan arriving just in the nick of time to put a little bit of pressure. She is gonna stun Rhaegar, pops that Maelstrom, does a ton of damage. The body block is real, however. Oh, great amounts of damage. Get Rhaegar making away. Great Cindy's going to slow him down. Now both of these guys are in a lot of trouble. Looks like Rhaegar trying to run away to the top. He does land that Q, which forces the root to miss, but Kerrigan's combo should be back up. And the stun almost hits him, but it does miss. However, oh my goodness, this just hits him in the face, and that is game over. In the middle lane, of course, we have Kel'Thuz and Uther doing a little bit of a dance. It seems to be going all right. Uther should not have too much trouble. And of course, Vala and Meriden really low health here in the bottom lane, but they're able to poke quite aggressively. And it looks like Vala, considering whether she would follow Meriden to get the scamp or to defend this, it looks like Leo's going to begin to push down. He does get the gate and should be able to get that tower with relatively little resistance, as the blue team is just focused on getting giants at the moment. It looks like the rest of the gang squad rotating down bottom here. They're thinking about it, although you see something interesting here in the middle lane. Johanna really low mana, does land the shield guard to dismount. And a great gravity lapse there from Kel'Thuz, still landing a little bit of damage on Uther, but he should be able to walk away and heal himself. Not a lot of problem. It looks like Raynor engaging there with a Q, which is again questionable. I don't know what that's about. And a good Phoenix. However, the stun does land on Kel'Thuz, really low on health. Here comes a double stun. He's basically going to go down. Great here and a heal. And here, ancestral healing, saving his life in the nick of time, but of course they do not have that. And here comes Meriden diving in as well as Arthas. The root lands on nobody, and Raynor getting free damage there. However, Kerrigan joining the fight does stun the Raynor, whose self-healing starts to kick in, and of course Rhaegar trying to do his best to keep him up. But now the blue team in a little bit of trouble here as the march misses entirely. Great stun there by Vala. They pick up the kill on Raynor on top of the Cindy, and now all these guys are slowed down. Leoric goes down. Rhaegar trying to do a little bit of damage. Here comes the stun on him though. He goes taken down as well. Now Johanna, no mana, trying to get out of the way, gets stunned, gets rooted, and gets eliminated. Here comes Kel'Thuz. Can he do anything? A level 11 to level 12? Nothing. He really just lands a little bit of a flame strike and watches as his enemy team just walks away. The blue team with quite a superior showing of force here, 17 kills to 3. And now, of course, they have one giant on the bottom lane, which is about to get taken down momentarily. That's a 4-set guy. But they should be able to grab this temple and the majority of the damage. In the middle lane, it looks like Meriden trying to contest against both Kel'Thuz and Meriden. Kel'Thuz, both Kel'Thuz and Leoric. I don't know why I can't say his name today. And it looks like he does miss the drain, and that's going to be enough to just basically shoo Meriden out of here, because now there's 3 of them, and he doesn't really want to trade with that. They're definitely ahead. Kerrigan does get this fort, which means they're already doing damage in the next fort, and that's definitely going to go down. And maybe even the top one. On the top one's pretty much safe, but he'll get a tower or 2. So the blue team definitely in a dominant spot. All you got to do is not throw. It looks like Leoric sees that they're trying to grab these giants. He's going to try to jump in here and begins to do a little bit of a swing. Here comes the root. They do catch him, forcing that Banshee. He does walk away. Now Raynor trying to do a little bit of poke. Misses that Q. And here comes the Hyperion. Too little too late as they do grab the giants. It looks like Meriden forced to use his dwarf tufts to get away. But the rest of the blue team coming in here. Good concave. They're going to do a ton of damage. The root lands on 3 members of the enemy team. Tons of damage. Here comes the stun from Kerrigan. Basically mowing all of them down. The Maelstrom comes out. The ancestral healing does heal somebody, but it's really not enough. I don't even know if it went off or not. And now Rhaegar trying to run away. Here comes the stun from Kerrigan. Against she landed. Is going to be max range. And there it is, just a pullback. And Cindy's going to slow him down enough for Merrin to get into position. Does do a thunderclap and stun. And the assist for healing did not go off before, because it did go out now. And he does manage to get taken down. Kelvin's on the top lane by himself, being like, well, that sucked. And he's going to recall to try to help out. Of course, this bottom push is going to leave alone. They might get a tower or two of those things almost out of ammunition as it is. And they are going to make a push for the boss in the infamous throw pit of the Sky Temple. However, the enemy team already alive. They might be able to come in here and contest it if they hurry. They're 2 levels behind, about to be 3 levels. So it's whether or not it's a wise decision is a little bit questionable. It looks like Johanna is already being seen here by the minions, and Leo's going to try to make the walk, but it's a little too late as the blue team secures the boss, and he stops by that bush going like, well, darn. What are we going to do now? It looks like the blue team with complete domination here. Vala going to the middle lane, just clearing out. They do grab some orbs, and they keep rotating to deal with that top push. Of course, the red team forced to deal with this boss. It's the 10-minute mark, so it's not a scary, really, proposition. The boss is not going to get much done as long as they defend it. But they are conceding 100% map control to their enemies because they have to deal with this at the moment. Of course, the level difference also means that this Rhaegar needs to be really careful, because remember, he does not know where the rest of the blue team is. So all he sees is Vala poking and being aggressive. He doesn't know there's a gang squad incoming. Of course, he's trying to get a little bit of soak going because the level difference cannot maintain themselves this way, particularly next level. Well, they'll be getting another talent tier and they'll be behind. It looks like a gang squad occurring here. They were going to try to see if anybody was going for the scamp. It doesn't, and they're just going to steal it right underneath the enemy team. I don't think they're really at much of a risk, because Kelton's going to go in here and see this and be like, oh, there's a gravity lapse, never mind, a flame strike. And then just going to walk away, getting pretty chunked there by the Hungry Arrow and the multi-shot combo. And the blue team's going to get out of here after grabbing those bruisers. They're going to begin to do a little bit of damage there. They do take out the tower. It looks like the Aura going. Great stun by Vala, picks up twice. And then the Syndragosa, and then the pull in from Kerrigan. And Cecil Healing comes down on the wrong target, I believe. But tons of damage going out, and the red team is getting completely obliterated. Merton with a great body blocks. Johanna going to get taken down. Really low health. Well, Rhaegar, he's going to try to get away. Does manage to get a heal. Here comes Kerrigan with the hit, and Vala just right-clicks him and ends up. That's an ace multi-kill for the blue team, completely obliterating the red team. They're getting spanked, man. This is not even a little funny. Let's go ahead and take this opportunity to look at damage done. It looks like our Vala has 31,000 done. Of course, the enemy Leoric leading his spec with 20,000. That's pretty sad. And siege-wise, we have Kerrigan with 25,000 and Kael'thas with 42,000. Again, really, really one-sided. It looks like they're going to be continue to hold the temple and knock down here in the front doors. So it looks like Phoenix does go out in a terrible position. And Leoric is going to try to clear with this, as well as Raynor trying to do a little bit of damage there. He doesn't even have Seasoned Marksman, so this doesn't really benefit Raynor whatsoever. A really, really sad day to be L8N8 from Jamaica. So they're going completely rolled by the Europeans. It looks like the gang push is real. This route was bad, but it's okay because Leoric takes a lot of damage. Triple stun from Kerrigan. Here comes the Condemned. That living bomb spreads, doing a ton of damage. Kerrigan and Vala trying to spread, but it looks like finally they get a pick on Arthas. Kerrigan really low on health. Does get blinded. The living bomb stacks. There's the Condemned on top of the punish. Slowed down. She dies. And now the blue team trying to retreat here. She's going to spread the living bomb to everybody. No, never mind. D-Shield saves his life, but it does still go off. And it looks like Meriden taking a lot of damage. He's going to try to get away this way. Good spread from the blue team, managing to get out of the way, as that was really, really scary. And it looks like Meriden is going to shoot this guy one last time for good measure. And they should be able to take a forward here and get a little bit of respect back on their own. 5 kills to 26, however. So a little bit of a small comeback, but really not quite there yet, as they're still 2 levels behind, even though they did pick up some kills. It looks like they're rotating here to the middle lane. Kael'thas is going to try to clear this, or they're just going to go for camps, it looks like. They do clear Leoric, just grabbing those orbs, and they're now going to go for Giants. However, not a great move, because they completely telegraph what they're doing. The blue team knows exactly where they are, and there is no boss, so they can actually allow them to take both these Giants and deal with it as soon as Kerrigan is up in 3 seconds. It looks like they're actually not even going to try to force any more fights. They're just going to go for camps. It's a relatively safe thing, but remember, when you grab camps, it's imperative that you understand why you're grabbing and what you're grabbing. It's always a good idea to grab them at low levels of gameplay, but at high levels of gameplay, when you grab a camp and it gets taken down immediately, you get no value out of that. I suppose at that position you might say, well, listen, at least if we're denying it to the enemy team. But of course, you're 2 levels behind. The most important thing is to try to get a pick while they still have dead people. Great gravity laps from Meriden. Tons of damage going out. That Vala stun is going to catch him twice again and carrying on the triple stun. The Cindy slows all of them down. The Maelstrom doing an absurd amount of damage. It looks like our Rhaegar goes down. Kael'thas goes down. The next target is likely to be Johanna. She can't really get away. She's trying to do a little bit of damage. Gets taken down. Great stun Raynor. And then the Kerrigan combo as well. And now Leoric trying to get out with what I would say is about 15% health. But it doesn't even matter. The blue team coming back and getting a bunch more kills and forcing the issue. It looks like they're going to opt to go for temples here. So Arthas is going to go here to the bottom lane, and they're going to continue to push the bottom temple, sorry, and they're going to continue to push the bottom lane. Look at Meriden already up here, trying to engage a little bit. He is going to BM. Great Storm, great Thunderclap, tons of damage. Leoric solo is going to be forced to go back, and Meriden's just going to steal the vision as the rest of his team continues to push down here this bottom lane. However, a little bit questionable. I don't know what the strategy is here. I guess put a little bit of pressure to force him to deal with this push while they get, while they get both camps up top. Sorry, both temples. And now the red team respawning. Here come Kael'thas and Rhaegar. He does put a Stormbind, Aerithbind Totem. Tons of damage going on Kerrigan. She does do enough to spread out. Not much going on there. A great stun, although she does get caught in the gravity lapse. And now they're going to be forced to come out here as they're split. She manages to mount up on Vala, doing a little bit of a vault. She gets out thanks to those caltrops just in the nick of time to be able to evade this, and it looks like Raynor does not get a shot off. And now they're going to retreat completely. Are they going to go here and try to fight this? It looks like Arthur's deciding, you know what, let's just relocate. 4v5, not worth it. Let them have the rest of the temple, even it's not even that much damage. And the red team content taking it. And now it looks like Kael'thas and Leoric trying to make a move here, trying to make a play, but they're really, really exposed. They need to be super careful because, of course, Meriden got the last level bombardment on the middle temple, and now he's making his way down here. As they do finally kill the bottom temple, however, they don't have any keeps. So this is looking really, really, really gloomy for the red team as they're trying to escape here. Looks like Meriden going to jump in, just going to stun Leoric. Thunderclap, that Phoenix was horrendous. It was the worst Phoenix in American history as Leoric is going to try to completely retreat, but his enemy trying to confront. Vala catches a double stun yet again. Raynor gets obliterated. It looks like his sense healing does go off on Johanna, and of course that March was a little bit questionable, but she does get enough targets. And now Arthas is forced back. The D-Shield does come out. It looks like they don't have any of the DPS, but they don't need it as Meriden continues to attack Rhaegar and then jumps away. Here comes the cavalry in the form of Kerrigan. She's going to begin to do a lot of damage to root business. The shrink break going down on Rhaegar. He's trying to get away. Vala, Kerrigan going the other way, just going to wait for him in the bush. And here comes the damage. That's enough to pick up the kill. Vala trying to run away from the Skeleton King, and she manages to get out. So the red team does not even get a single kill, even though Vala's really low. And now they're in a lot of trouble. Here comes Kerrigan, jumps in with a Ravage. The stun from Meriden actually catches both of them. Kerrigan doing a little bit of damage. Here comes the combo. They do catch Johanna. She presses that D to try to get away. She does not get stopped, but they're very low on health, and Leoric forced back to help her out. Very, very questionable stuff here. It looks like the red team is going to basically survive this, I think. Never mind, there's a stun by Uther. Leoric likely to go down now. Nothing he can do anymore. That's one more kill, and Johanna manages to get away in the nick of time. Although, again, giving up so many deaths. And now they have these pushes to deal with, catapults in every lane. The blue team going to get the boss. This is likely to be good game in a second here. Really, again, guys, just so you guys understand what I'm getting this from, it's kind of hard to get replays from Heroes of the Storm because of the fact that oftentimes they release a new patch or release a hotfix, and all replays no longer work. So I'm trying to get the best quality stuff that I can. Most of this stuff is coming from the ESL. They do a great job of supplying replays, but oftentimes understand that a lot of times I'm not familiar with the European teams, and of course this is a Jamaican team as well. It's an open cup, so I apologize if the level of gameplay is not super high, but it's still interesting, I think, to look at different levels of gameplay to see where the game is played. It looks like Kael'thas is going to do a little bit of poke there. Great double stun on them, then of course comboing with that Vala. They obliterate the blue team. Sintra goes just for bad manners, and Raynor manages to get the Hyperion out by carrying on him with that Maelstrom, completely blowing him away. His healing does kick in, but here comes Raynor for the body block, and that's another wipe. Johanna just basically hanging out in the base with the boss. And this was really crazy, as you say. Leoric says they play well drafted. And that is going to be it, you guys. Let's go ahead and take a look at the stats really quickly there at the end of the game. As Kerrigan even comes in here to help the boss. That should be a good game. Not really a good game, though. And that is enough. My name is Al. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I will see you all next time.